Not very successful. Like, lots of positives, lots of great experiences. Overall positive, but from a getting what I wanted out of Kona, not successful. Frustrating in many ways, because I felt like the block I put together in the woodlands was like a really good block, and I felt super fit from it. Heat perspective and everything, and I felt really prepared. I don't think I could have done much more there. So to then have a day that just didn't really feel great for no apparent reason is very, like, really frustrating, basically. My overriding feeling from this America would be disappointment and frustration from kind of not showing where I think I'm at, not having the kind of race that I know I'm capable of. But on the other hand, you know, got to spend like a month training with some great people out in Texas. Had some really cool times out in Kona, like got to know quite a few like sort of new people that I've not spent much time with, like Lisa, way better, which was like really, really nice. I mean, like at the end of the day, I'm doing triathlon because I want to be competitive and I want to compete against the best in the world. So to kind of not even really show up on race day is disappointing. Trying to go back through and work out, is there an obvious reason? I think there's probably a couple of elements. So I think one thing is not having as long a consistent build up to Kona because of my various Achilles issues as I did up to St. George. I think St. George I had like a really good and big sort of 3-4 month block of like really consistent training, no injury issues, nothing. So actually looking at the kind of overall training load and the kind of where my fitness was at before St. George, it was definitely higher. Even in saying that, in terms of like how I felt and the kind of sessions I was doing pre-Kona, like I still think I was kind of capable of doing a much better race than I did. I think the other thing that I kind of don't want to be a thing, but I think it is a thing, is wrong time of the month. So usually that kind of week before is my like flat, not as great feeling week, which I often get in training, so I think it definitely has an effect. However, it's not affected me at races before, so I guess I've not thought of it as a thing because I've not had a bad effect from it. But I wonder whether potentially in those conditions, in the heat, having that like 1 to 2% of not feeling quite as great as you can do has like a bigger impact. So potentially that, although as I said, I don't want that to then be like a limiting factor going forward of thinking like, oh, if I've got a race at that time, I'm not going to be performing to my absolute potential. Something I need to look back and kind of properly go back through all of my races and look at, has it had an impact before? And if not, maybe it was just a bit of a one-off and who knows. And then I think the only other thing is there was clearly quite a lot of illness going around. I wasn't ill, I didn't feel ill, but maybe there was a slight something my body was fighting off a bit. So yeah, I have kind of 3 potential reasons. Most likely to be a bit of a combination of the 3 as opposed to any of them in isolation. Sometimes people just don't have a great day. Like I might have just not had a great day for no particular reason. With the way that the race played out, maybe there was just part of me that mentally couldn't get myself back in the race. Completely kind of messed up the start from, with that Kona swim, you have to like swim out to the first buoy, and that was all kind of fine, was like around the sort of people I wanted to be at. And then suddenly we were at the start line and everyone had grouped in like 2 different groups on both sides. And I couldn't quite work out, Like it was really evenly split between like some of the people that I wanted to swim with because of how people were grouped. I couldn't get to a place of being on the front of the start line next to the people I wanted to be next to. So I basically decided to kind of sit off to the side, kind of in the middle, thinking the two groups will probably come together. So as long as I can sort of hang on to one side, I should still be in a good place. Which kind of worked, but also meant when the two groups came together, I got completely swum over and like completely not where I wanted to be. So I then like lost a little bit there and then ended up like on the back of probably like the main group that I wanted to swim with. Settled into that group, all good. Was with them all the way out to the turn buoy and it was comfortable, felt fine. I was like, this is good, I'm with the group. And then I don't really know what happened because I literally just lost them around the turn buoy and it was almost as if my arms just were like, nope, like you're kind of done. Like it wasn't like it suddenly felt harder. It was almost as if I was putting the same effort in, but I just wasn't hanging onto the back. So I kept trying to be like, right, just do like 20 strokes hard, try and get back on. Okay, but obviously that wasn't gonna happen. So I was like, right, just swim your own swim. And then like a couple of people came past that I managed to like hop onto for a bit. Very frustrating, so I basically then lost like 4 minutes on the second half of the swim when like if I'd come out with that group, I would have been in a much better place. Got out the swim and I was like, I'm obviously not exactly where I want to be, but still got the whole bike ahead of us. You know, I sort of had in my head, Daniela lost like 15 minutes on the swim one year and still came back to win. Like it's 4 minutes back is usually where I have been. Like that's where I was from St. George. So I was like, it's not a big, oh my God, the race is over. Definitely need to find some new, better elastic bands. The last 2 races, my elastic bands have just clearly like flopped. So again, like shoes dragging on the floor, took a bit of time to get into them. Got out on the bike and the first maybe like 30, 40K, I was like, okay, I'm kind of at race power. I was trying to go like I had like a range of what I was trying to stick between. So I was like, you know, I can go kind of up to sort of 220-ish for that first bit to try and catch back on. That should be like well within my means. Got to about 40K and I was like, oh, that's feeling like quite hard. Backed it off a little bit. And then kind of from there was a bit like, well, legs just don't really seem to have it. But again, I was like, it doesn't matter. Like you just gotta stick to what you can do. Like keep the heart rate kind of steady, keep getting on water, etc. And just see where that lands you. Because again, like places like Tulsa, where I had a really bad bike, I still then had a good run. So I was like, and again, in Kona, it all comes down to the run, really. Got through the rest of the bike, managed to catch a couple of people to then ride with on the way back, so that made it slightly better because basically up to that point I'd just been solo, which in Kona feels really tough. Maybe there was a point that my brain was just a bit like, this is hard and I don't like it. And then yeah, got onto the run. Like first little bit down a Leahy Drive, I was like, I feel alright, but I don't feel great. I was like hoping to feel a bit better after not pushing great power on the bike. I definitely felt fewer aid stations. I felt that quite a lot. Yeah, kind of basically as soon as I got out on Queen K, I was just like, this is a bit of a struggle. So then it was a bit of a like, I was with Susie at that point. She just kind of powered on. I tried quite hard to stick with her for a bit, but just couldn't. From then on, it was a little bit of like walking, jogging, kind of just getting through. Maya caught me back up. So we'd come off the bike together. I'd like run away from her and she then caught me back up at that point. And she was like, come on, like just run with me. So I actually ran with her for quite a bit and that was really nice. That kept me going and like kind of got me through the energy lap. Generally speaking, that race, just like there were so many points when I was like, I just want to stop. Like this is just, it's hard. I'm not doing anything, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm not showing what I can do. I'm letting everyone down. Obviously it was like, well, I can't just stop like that. Mainly I was thinking like Kat stood there on the side, would give anything to be racing. I can't just give up, that would be silly. I feel like unless you've got a really good reason for DNF, even as a pro, I kind of think for Kona in particular, it's like you've got to try and finish it, I think. So yeah, like got through it, got to that finish line. Was not the kind of happy finish line I was hoping for. And yeah, like it took a few days to try and process it. Like I definitely feel, I think, as I said, like there's some positives to take from it in that the swim is almost there. Like I spent half the swim with that main group that I've not done before. So like that is a step forward, even though I then lost them, that's still like better than I've done before. So hopefully like a little bit more working on that and then like I will be with that main group. And then I'm in the race from the start. But yeah, as I said, swim feels like it's getting there, and I actually had quite a good swim this morning, so progress being made. Bike-wise, I still feel that I'm not quite translating what I can do in training into racing, so still need to try and figure that out a little bit. And the run, yeah, I mean, I think if you're just having a bit of a bad day in Kona, like you're just not going to run well. So I'm not as worried about the run, and I think with me, generally I need that bit more. I probably need like a good like 4-month block of solid running to be at like really good run shape, so I just didn't quite have that much. I don't want to finish my season on a bad race, and I also want to do what I can to try and stay in the PTO top 20, which at the moment I'm going to be dropping way out because 2 of my results that are counting are from last year. So I'm going to do another race. Pretty sure I'm going to go do Israel. It's a championship race, the prize money is good, and it's got 3 Kona slots. So being able to actually get my Kona slot this side of Christmas then gives all the freedom next year to do some of the PTO races, to maybe look at doing Challenge Roth. But yeah, I'm going to get through a week of training, see how the body actually feels. We're trying to do some intensity and kind of go from there. But yeah, some positives, lots of disappointments, but yeah, some good things to take forward next year.